We shall depart from our usual airing of international motorsports events of the segment as we pave the way for Motoring Today's renewed efforts to promote local motorsports. For those who've been following us for the many years since we started, which was 3 decades no less, you would know that parallel to this show's efforts to bring to our viewers international motorsports events was the coverage of local races and other motorsports disciplines. Well, for 2018, we shall revive these efforts to promote local motorsports. And as our maiden undertaking this year, we'd like to put on the spotlight the chairman of the Motorsports Committee of the AAP, or the Automobile Association of the Philippines. Here's my interview with Mr. Mandy Eduque, a top exponent of Philippine motorsports and several times champion rally driver, circuit racer, and other motorsports disciplines. Mandy, let me cut the chase, no?
Sure.
So, if I may explain to you, the reason why you're here is because we wanted to find out, number one, the state of motorsports development in the Philippines. But before that, let me thank you for this, I would say, privilege, because I know you stay out of the country more than you stay inside. And, and this is really one of those few moments, or is one of those rare chances that we can have you here. Although I think you went out of your way to flag off 3 of our Sampaguita rallies, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yes, my pleasure.
Anyway.
Those are the biggest motoring events in the country,
Thank
actually.
you. Thank you. Well, yeah, well, having said that, I remember, I think we had 64 cars in the grid.
Mm-hmm.
And it was quite an event. But of course, as time goes by, it lessens, it thins out. But then I think there's, again, the resurgence of interest in the sport, and we'll have more cars participating again.
Yeah, I hope so.
Anyway, Mandy, can you give us an idea, number one, how many motorsports disciplines are being exploited here in the Philippines?
Okay. If you don't mind, Butch, let me lay the premise. No?
Yes, please.
I am with an organization that may not be well known to a lot of people. It's called Automobile Association Philippines. Used to be called Philippine Motor Association. It is the national sporting authority appointed by the FIA, Federación Internacional de Automobile, which is the international governing body for motorsports. So they appointed AAP as the NSA, National Sporting Authority for 4-wheel motorsports in the country. So basically, AAP has the mandate to govern motorsports in the Philippines. I am in charge of the motorsports section as chairman of the Motorsports Committee. What we do is we have a mantra. We want to make motorsports safe above everything, fair, and affordable. That in a nutshell is what we try to do. Now, let me start off by saying that motorsports in the Philippines is alive and kicking. It's thriving. Just to give you some numbers, in 2017, we sanctioned 62 motorsport events. Given that there are only 52 weekends in a year, that means that there are many weekends where there are more than 2 events happening. These are circuit racing, karting, autocross, slalom, and drag racing. And last year, we introduced rallycross because we want eventually to bring rallying back into the country. We licensed 1,120 competitors last year. And we have 80 licensed racing officials. So it's not a small thing, it's rather big. These include international events. We had F4 last year. We initiated Caterham 7 last year, both in Clark. We sanctioned the Asian Karting Open Championship, or known as ACOC. So Philippine motorsports is not only limited to our borders, but we send drivers abroad. Drivers come in to compete here because they like the competition here. So the state of motorsports is quite good, no? But of course, there's always room for improvement, and that is what we would like to keep going after.
Well, after having heard that from you, I would say the top honcho for motorsports in the Philippines, I'm less worried. As I was telling you earlier, one of the reasons why we are getting into this mode as far as motoring today is concerned, is I felt worried that I don't get to see that much coverage of motorsports events like before. When I saw you earlier, I was telling myself this is deja vu, because some 30 years back, if you remember, Pochole and I would request you to come over for interviews, and here we are again. And I'm glad, because hopefully with this effort of our show, we'll help in our own little way pump up again the interest in motorsports. But as you said, I don't think there's really anything wrong with the development. Now I think what is lacking is the coverage,
That's
media
correct.
coverage of these motorsports
That's
events.
correct. Because aside from the events which we are running, we are trying to develop motorsport competitors on a grassroots basis.
I heard about that. Would
Yeah.
you spend time to explain to us how this
Yeah.
works?
In 2015, the FIA launched a program called the Motorsport Development Program. So they asked the different countries to come up with a program, and they were willing to fund it if they approved of the program. We applied, we were approved, we were given a grant in 2015. So what did we do with the grant? What we wanted to do was we wanted to develop drivers in the proper manner. Let me explain. I, along with a lot of other people, I guess of our generation, learned to drive in what I think was the wrong way. We learned from our mistakes, okay? And in the process, we crashed a lot of cars. We spent a lot of money fixing the cars. And it is a very expensive way to learn. The Motorsport Development Program of AAP is we invite young people, 16 onwards, who want or dream of becoming competitive drivers. And we have a program for them, which is run by Vip Isada, 9-time national rally champion. So he should know what he's doing, right? And it's a 9-module program. The first program is very basic. How do you sit in a car? How do you hold the steering wheel? And it goes all the way to the 9th module, which is how to sell yourself, how to find sponsors. It even includes a module on the psychology of motorsport. So I think this is the right way. This is taught to these young people even before they step onto a track. So they have the basics, they have the fundamentals. And since 2015, we have run 600 students through this program. And the good thing about this, Butch, is it's not confined to Metro Manila. We go to Cebu, we go to Bacolod, we go to Iloilo, we go to Palawan, we go to Cagayan de Oro, because that's where a lot of interested drivers are, no? And we have people who help us, notably Mazda and Sea Oil. Mazda, through Steven, whom you know,
Steven Tan.
yeah, has given us 4 Mazda 2 cars to be used only for this program. So a kid can come in, doesn't have to have a car, because there are cars he can use. We're quite happy with the way that the program has turned out, because our graduates, when they step onto the track, are winners. No? I mean, it's so satisfying to see a person come in who knows nothing about driving, and at the end of 1 year, you put him in a car, run him through one of the circuit series, and they are podium. As against people who've been running for the past 8 to 10 years and wala, no? Because I'm convinced you have to learn it the right way. Otherwise, if you don't, you get discouraged, you drop out. No? So we are continuing with the program for 2018. We have another grant from the FIA, and we want to invite everybody who's interested to come in. We have a place for anybody who wants to learn. No? And I am hopeful that in this way, motorsports will become a more affordable, safe, and satisfying, fulfilling sport for these young kids.
I remember, Mandy, one of the challenges that motorsports, local motorsports had is that it has been labeled as a rich man's sport, no? But with what you just explained, this can change entirely its picture.
Yeah.
But I'm just worried about one word you said, invited. Does that mean that nobody can just come and present themselves? Or
No, I'm sorry, Butch. Maybe I used the wrong word. Invited in the sense na we would like you to know about it and you come in. There's no invitation. Everybody is welcome. But as you said, no, the problem is how to make them aware that there is such a program. The media coverage needs to improve. It's not only the coverage of the events, it's the coverage of these programs that are actually beneficial to the sport. But you don't have to be invited. Go to the AAP website and the details are there. You come in and join us.
That's great. You mentioned sponsorship.
Yeah.
You've been in this game for a long time. Of course, you could afford to race even without a sponsor. But then we found out that there are talents there as we went along, but they just cannot be developed further because there are no sponsors. But as you very well know, sponsors come and there's people. So, what do you think, aside from the possible improvement of media coverage, can spike more spectators in these events?
Butch, sponsorship has been an age-old problem with motorsports, not only here but abroad. No? Of course, abroad it's more highly developed motorsports, but here I think the problem is basically the same. It's chicken and an egg. A sponsor is willing to spend if he can get mileage out of it, di ba? But if motorsport cannot provide the mileage through media, then there's no incentive for them to come in. So it's very important for media coverage to improve, because then it gives sponsors an incentive to spend money. No? For example, okay, I have an example. F1 and World Rally Championship. F1 draws sponsors like anything because there's television, there's press, there's all sorts of ways in which you can get your brand shown on media. In rallying, it's difficult because there's no video, because it's hard. It's hard to cover a rally event.
The venue is expansive.
Exactly. So if you cannot get the thing on television, it's very difficult to get sponsors. No? Same problem here. No? And it's not only for rally, it's for circuit, etc. The organizers and of course AAP, no? We have to increase the mileage in media coverage. If that happens, sponsors will say, hey, wait a minute, this is a new venue. The market are young people. This is the market that we want. Let's go in. No? Pero kung hindi, there's no incentive.
Okay, Mandy, probably we could take this opportunity to give some of our viewers more information about local motorsports, like what motorsports discipline is more or less being held where?
Okay. The most number of events, I cited 62 events in 2017. 22 of those were circuit races, okay, which are held basically in Clark and in Batangas, the circuits that are operated by Johnny Tan. There are several series. There are the GT, there are the flat out racing or force, and there are a number of other types of circuit racing, but basically confined to racetracks because we feel that those are the safest venues for circuit racing. The most popular sport in the sense that it has the most participants is drag racing. Drag racing is also held mostly in Clark and in Batangas because you need a long straight. No? You'd be amazed how many people participate. For one event, for a weekend event, for instance, in Clark or Batangas, you can get 700. And because of the number, these events have to be run until the evening. There are lights, there are floodlights. No? The entry level is karting, which is in the racetrack is in Carmona, in Cavite. These are for really young people. You can start as early as 8. This is how all the F1 stars started. And then there is the slalom. Bing Bang Dulces is the organizer. These are also entry level, and they are easy to access because they usually have them in parking lots of malls. And then autocross is another event that can be held in a very compact place. Those who like racing on dirt, we started autocross last year. And then there are the off-road races. These are the monster four-wheelers. No? So there are so many different kinds of motorsport events going on.
Okay, let me digress a little bit. I'm sure you've heard, you know about the Vios Cup.
Yes.
Very successful motorsports development project of Toyota Motor Philippines, and also a very successful marketing tool for the Vios. My question is this: you see, when Pocholo and I we used to cover the races in Subic, if you remember, and Pocholo started this inter-brand race, and we would always discuss this to the point of arguing, because I'm a firm believer of the one brand race. You know,
Yeah.
it's simpler to run.
One make.
One make, and it's one make and one brand, and there's less complications because the brand involved. And if it's a multi-brand thing, there's always this drive to win.
Yes, yes.
But here it's same brand anyway. So Toyota took up that particular opportunity and that particular mode of racing. Now, should there be other brands who may want to do something like that, but in the different motorsports disciplines, like probably brand A would like to do it not circuit but off-road,
Yeah.
or slalom and all that. Is the AAP willing to help out, and to what extent, like in organizing this, is that possible?
Yeah, of course. Definitely, that's one of our main objectives. No, is to broaden the base of motorsports. I really take my hat off to Toyota for the Vios Cup, no, because I'm sure it's costing them a mint. But see, it has turned out to be such a great marketing success that I'm pretty sure they've recovered what they're spending, diba? So they have the vision, they had the foresight, no, to do this. Other people might say, mahal yan. We'll never get that back. But the philosophy is you race on Sunday and you sell on Monday. No, and that's what happened. The sales of Vios units, for instance, incontrovertibly have increased due to the Vios Cup. So I really congratulate them for their courage and their initiative. Other brands, we are talking to Mazda now because they are thinking of putting up their own series. No? And we're helping them. And what we do is this: we put them together with an organizer who will help them put together a program for a series. I agree with you, no? One make series are easier because it's very difficult to convince different manufacturers to come in when there are different makes. And I'll tell you why. They don't want to lose, no? So they want to be sure to win, but if you have different makes, you cannot be sure, di ba?
Let me just interject, if you don't mind. Except in the STV Auto Rally Corporate Challenge, it's multi-brand, because if they lose, it's the team that makes them win, or not the car.
But that's because of your efforts, Butch. You put the team together, and they can't say no to you.
No, not really. Not really. A lot of people would really want to
say no to you.
A lot of people would like really to run, and it's been also some sort of a showcase for the brand new cars. And there's no face loss if you lose.
At saka iba yun because it's sa pagitan, no? It's tulip kind.
It's not a race.
It's friendly.
Yes.
Di ba? Yes. It's not yung banggaan kayo and So
anyway, I'm sorry for the interruption. You were saying.
No, but as I was saying, AAP can assist in helping car manufacturers who are interested in putting up their series to put it up. No, we put them in touch with an organizer. We help them with the circuit owners, etc., etc. So we do our best to make those things happen.
Well, I think I've spent a lot of your time. Thank
No
you very
problem,
much. Thank you
Butch.
very much. But
Although the last time that you mentioned that I was here, I was thinner and had more hair. Hopefully the next time I won't have lost more hair.
thank you once again. But before I let you go, would you have a message to our viewers, especially those children or parents who may want to have their kids go into motorsports but are a little worried about the challenges? Please, the camera is yours.
Yeah, as I was saying, AAP has this program, Motorsports Development Program, which is a responsible program for training young people from 16 up who are interested in motorsports. So parents, if your kid, and when I say kid, I mean he or she, because we have women drivers involved in the program. If they have an interest and you're not sure about how this goes, we are a responsible organization. We assure you that we'll take care of them. So don't have any hesitation, bring them to us and we'll take care of them.
Mandy, thank you very much.
Anytime, Butch.
One thing I can assure, this is not going to be the last. Thank you.
Sure.
Mr. Mandy Eduque, Chairman of the Motorsports Committee of the Automobile Association of the Philippines and noted sportsman and motorsports icon. Our guest this week on Race Weekend.